when you think about it, because nothing else bad can happen while she's asleep. We'll be back to headquarters before she wakes up.
Inside Out introduced the audience to a cast of colorful and fun-loving characters, each complete with a distinct personality and for emotions that makes complete sense. Joy and sadness are the dual protagonists in the first film and go on the adventure of a lifetime together. Joy calls the shots during the original story, and the others rarely question her. She receives the final say because she became Riley's primary emotion throughout the course of her life. Riley is a joyous person at her core, so much so that she feels pressured to keep smiling even though she feels like her life is falling apart. However, Joy can only carry Riley so far, and by the film's end, she learns to start embracing the other emotions. The acceptance that sadness receives is the most notable change and will impact the plot of Inside Out 2. In today's video, we're explaining how sadness could become Riley's new primary emotion.
If we fall, we'll be forgotten forever.
We have to do this for Riley. Just follow my footsteps.
In the original film, sadness appeared to take on an antagonistic role. In the opening scenes, she became a pain for Joy to deal with as she begins to influence Riley in ways that deviate from her typical behavior. Sadness felt an indescribable need to access the control panel and touch core memories, which led to them changing from happy memories to sad ones. To prevent Riley from becoming overwhelmed by intense melancholy, Joy tries to suppress sadness by forcing her to stand in a circle to prevent her from touching anything. As it turns out, suppressing sadness's needs makes her desires worse. She also ends up creating a new core memory for Riley. Joy reacts negatively to this change, and after a confrontation, she, sadness, and the core emotions are sent into Riley's long-term memory and must find their way back to headquarters. However, without Joy or sadness to help process her situation, Riley becomes overwhelmed by her situation and becomes so depressed that she tries to run away from home. With such dire circumstances and Riley's welfare on the line, Joy and sadness learn how to work together. By the end of the film, Joy manages to put her stubbornness aside to realize how important it is to embrace sadness in a healthy way. She discovers that core memories can hold more than one emotion and that feelings of joy wouldn't be possible without sadness.
We just have to get back to headquarters, plug the core memories in, and Riley will be back to normal.
To save Riley, sadness receives permission to use the control panel. She allows Riley to release the sad feelings she tries to hold in during her family's move to San Francisco. Not only does sadness convince Riley to stop running away, she helps her be honest with her parents, and the three share in a group hug as Riley finally allows her tears to flow. The moment was likely cathartic for her and life-altering, as she learned that feeling sad is okay and knows how to express those emotions when necessary. During the epilogue scenes, Riley appears adjusted to her new life. She has new friends and a hockey team, but the dynamics inside her emotions headquarters have changed too. She has core memories from each emotion, and she's developed new islands of personality to help express her interests. Most importantly, the control panel receives updates, including a large red button that reads Puberty, which will be the catalyst for Inside Out 2.
Hey, sadness, you touched a memory? We talked about this.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
The plot of Inside Out is all about the emotions reaching an equilibrium with each other. The message is that someone should accept their feelings because they all have a crucial role to play, and even though sadness can make someone feel like they're at their lowest, it isn't a negative emotion. The same message will likely occur in Inside Out 2, but with Riley facing higher stakes as she approaches her teenage years. In the trailer for the sequel, the audience receives an introduction to one of many new emotions for Riley: anxiety. Anxiety is an emotion that most people are familiar with, and there are many reasons why teenagers would begin to experience it during their development. Riley could have general anxiety based on the events happening in her life, or social anxiety as she meets new people and joins new social circles. Unfortunately, despite how common anxiety is, it is still viewed in a negative light. Anxiety can be difficult to live with if it impacts someone's mental health and prevents them from completing their daily activities. Like in the first film, Joy may have trouble accepting anxiety and the other emotions hinted at in the film's poster. Anxiety, embarrassment, envy, and ennui don't mix with someone's feelings of happiness. Riley's new emotions may become so intense that they repress joy on accident or otherwise. While these emotions don't always mix with joy, they can easily coexist with feelings of sadness. Sometimes situations involving intense fear, embarrassment, jealousy, and boredom can result in reactionary feelings of sadness. Due to this relationship, sadness could bridge the gap between Riley's new and old emotions.
Oh my gosh, I'm anxiety. Where can I put my stuff?
A new emotion!
If she begins to use the control panel as she did at the end of Inside Out, sadness could take over as Riley's new primary emotion as she adapts to this evolutionary period. Although emotions should work together, even adults with calm headquarters appear to have a primary emotion that issues orders or has the final say. Riley's mother is a fantastic example of this, as there's a scene in the first film that shows Mrs. Anderson's internal headquarters and how her emotions are oriented. Her primary emotion is sadness, but that doesn't make her overly sad. Instead, she approaches a delicate situation with gentleness and tries to navigate Riley's poor mood with calmness and empathy. Unlike Mr. Anderson, who responds to Riley's attitude with immediate anger, Mrs. Anderson remains calm during the entire interaction, likely due to sadness being at the helm of her control panel. Therefore, if sadness were to take over as Riley's primary emotion, it could yield positive results. For example, in the first film, fear, anger, and disgust failed to help Riley navigate her daily life and took extreme measures to make her happy again. Sadness immediately fixes their mistake when she returns to headquarters, and she does so quietly, with the same gentleness and nuance expressed by Mrs. Anderson earlier in the film. Sadness may encompass more than one purpose. Throughout Inside Out, every other example of emotions includes the same 5 emotions as Riley. However, humans are complex entities who experience a wide range of emotions, which is why more are introduced in the sequel.
What are you doing?
Just give me 1 second. You know what I've realized? Riley hasn't had lunch, remember?
Regardless, the adults in the film still have 5 emotions, and additional responsibilities could get split among them. For example, fear shows signs of generalized anxiety in the first film, while disgust appears envious of the cool girls at Riley's new school. These distinct emotions like anxiety and envy may become so intense for Riley when she turns 13 that they divide into their entities, creating new, larger-than-life feelings for her to contend with. It's unreasonable to assume that Riley has never experienced envy or jealousy before the second film. There are examples of it in the first film, like when her friend from Minnesota mentions a new member of their hockey team, which causes her to have an angry outburst and end the video call. Jealousy can cause someone to feel sadness and anger too. It showcases how intertwined and elaborate emotions can be. There's a very likely possibility that new emotions appear in headquarters only when they grow to become life-altering. If the new emotions in headquarters are just intense manifestations of Riley's pre-existing emotions, it's plausible that her core 5 emotions can evolve and grow. Sadness could change throughout Inside Out 2 to become Riley's new primary emotion and represent empathy and adaptability. She can create a safe place for Riley's newest emotions to process situations with patience and understanding. In doing so, the sequel could expand on the crucial themes that blew audiences away during the first film.
I know, Dad.
But not too aggressive.
You know, you guys don't have to come to every game.
Are you kidding? I'm not missing one!
With new emotions arriving in headquarters, there's no doubt that Joy will be out of her depth. She learned to coexist with sadness, but emotions like anxiety, embarrassment, envy, and ennui are a different story. The first film dedicated its story to explaining how hard growing up can be and how much harder it becomes when life-altering situations can change everything you know. Riley is bound to face more trials and tribulations as she enters her teen years, and these changes will help enhance her emotional awareness and accessibility. As her new emotions do what they can to help Riley, they'll likely find sadness a more agreeable host who helps them settle in. With so many changes happening in Riley's personal life, it won't be a surprise if sadness steps into a newfound leadership role during Inside Out 2.
I bet you and Riley had great adventures.
Oh, they were wonderful.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on our uploads.
My friend says you're famous. She wants your autograph.
No, Sadness. Don't bother Miss Unicorn, okay?